Quicksand is twice as dense as your body, so in theory it should be impossible to drown. But if you panic, you just get sucked in further and you won't have a hope of getting out. But getting out of here is a battle.
And that's what suicide is like. Getting out of that feeling of hopelessness and despair is a battle. The difference between getting out of quicksand and trying to move out of clinical depression is that you can reach out for help. And when we know people that are asking for that help, hear them. Don't try to fix it. That's where professionals come in. There were people in Scripture that were dealing with thoughts of suicide. Thousands and thousands of years ago, this man named Moses, who had been called by God and had this calling to lead these people to freedom. They were slaves. And so he had this noble cause, and he was called to lead them to freedom. And so he starts doing it, and he's doing exactly what God has called him to do. He's got this, great life. All these people are following him, right? And then they get in this place called the wilderness, and it is so hard. Every day they walk a little more. They're trying to get to the promised land, this land that they felt like had been promised to them by God, especially away from all the slavery and the captivity of the Egyptian government. And Moses was their leader. But, anytime you lead something, there's always good parts of it, and then there's some bad parts of it too. And so he was taking some hits. The people were mad at him because here they are in this wilderness and it seems to never end. And so he became despondent, and he says this in a prayer to God in Numbers, the book of Numbers in the Old Testament. I am not able to carry all these people alone. God, if this is the way you're going to treat me, then just go on and put me to death at once. Now, that's one of the leaders of our faith, a foundational pillar in the Old Testament books. Put me to death at once, God, if this is the way life is going to be. He felt that way. There are different stages of suicidal ideation, like when you have those ideas and those thoughts that are associated with suicide. It could just be the initial idea, but then there are other things like when you have a plan, that's big time bad. But just even thinking about it at the beginning of the stages, that's a phenomenal time to reach out for help and talk to somebody that you love and that you trust. So that is my hope also for you today, is that, wherever you are in believing the I don't know the word for that, but the literal nature of Scripture, wherever you are with that, please hear me and Justin Bieber, for Pete's sakes. I never thought I would show a Justin Bieber video in worship about God. He worships in New York City at Hillsong Church now, almost every weekend. He said, I don't believe the whole religion mumbo jumbo, but I know that when I am alone, that there is something bigger than I am that holds it all together. That's what I want you to believe, that there is this presence and this peace that comes with knowing God. And we believe God's been revealed to us through Jesus Christ. But if you find God through Buddhism or whatever, at this point, I just want you to know that there is something so much bigger than your pain and our pain. That hopelessness and despair is not the last thing. And when people are experiencing clinical depression, here are the things that they think. And this is according to psychologists and psychiatrists, not Andrea Smith. When they are experiencing those deep, deep feelings in clinical depression, they think that the world is better off without them. That's what Hannah Baker finally concluded in 13 Reasons Why. She kept experiencing these bad things, so then she'd try to go find a new friend group. And so she would go try to, get included and feel accepted, and things would go okay for a little while, and then something else would happen. Then she'd find new groups of friends or new people that she could connect with, and then they would betray her as well. Human beings will always let us down. They will, because we are human beings, and we are not perfect. But there is a peace and a love that sustains us and holds us in all things. And it is my hope and my prayer for you that you can experience that love and that peace. But when people are clinically depressed, they feel like the world is better off without them. So if you know of someone that is grieving the loss of a loved one who has experienced death by suicide, and they are angry at them and say, or angry about them if they know of someone, far removed, like, I can't believe she would do that and leave her children. How selfish. Well, let me let you know something. They think their children are better off without them. And I know that because I have talked with people like this before they have gotten to that bottom level where they really did think there was no way out of this situation. And they have said to me, they don't need me. I bring them down. My problems are so big and I can't just snap out of it. They are better off without me. And before I can get them to psychiatric help, I do everything I can to beg them and plead with them. No, that's not true. They're not better off without you. But guess what? In that moment, they can't see that. Clinical depression is not just something you can go, oh yeah, okay, that's another way of looking at it. Let me try that. It is a mental disorder. It is a mental illness.